Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to talk about the second REMDra Fever W ranking dungeon that has gone live in North America. So, REMDra Fever ranking dungeons are a special kind of event because it gives all players the opportunity to earn a cosmetic crown by acquiring a score or a cumulative score of 999,999 points. And as long as you achieve this score within the given time period over multiple runs, you will earn a crown. And this is wonderful because everyone likes cosmetic benefits themselves. Who doesn't want to look prettier? And for this case here, they've made this REMDra Fever even easier because we have boosted bonus matching points. Whenever you match a light or a dark row, you will receive plus 2,500 points for each of those. And that's a huge boon because prior to like vanilla REMDra Fevers, you might get like 20, maybe 30k a run. So you're getting a massive number of points just from forming rows. And all you have to do is clear 50 dark orbs. So it's quite forgiving. They give us a bigger health pool to play with. They give us an exceptionally high bonus scoring mechanism. And in addition to that, this REMDra Fever will feature special drops of Hera or Zeus avatamas, and I'll explain those a little bit further down. But the point of the matter is, this is definitely an event worth playing over and over again, and there's no reason why you can't get a crown. So, for this video, I'm going to showcase a couple of different strategies or approaches to earning higher scores in terms of like optimal efficiency, in terms of speed, and as well as just getting clears just for the sake of farming the drops, assuming you actually achieved the score threshold. So we have an entire week. It starts on Monday the 13th and goes until Sunday the 19th of December. So how does the REMDra Fever scoring system work? Because it's a little bit different compared to regular ranking dungeons, because there is a special timer, as well as you only finish a run if you actually match X number of the respective orbs. And in this case here, you have to match 50 dark orbs. Once you match 50 dark orbs, you are finished. It is over. You get all the rewards and your score is retained. But let's say your timer queued out and you didn't have 50 dark orbs. The run will end in a loss and you will get no points and no rewards. So if your time is about to finish, make sure you match those extra dark orbs just to secure that score. Remember, some score is better than no score, of course. And like I said, you have to clear those 50 orbs in order to finish the dungeon, but at the same time, you want to avoid matching those orbs if possible, or at least in this case, at least match them in a row for the bonus points. But I say avoid matching them if possible because there is a level up system, because when you level up, you will have higher base points for every combo made. So you have to clear X number of orbs to level up each time. X number of any kind of orbs. So matching a 6 light versus a 3 and 3 of light is still 6 orbs worth of clearing, thus 6 orbs worth of contribution for the actual level up process. So you want to get as many levels as you can, because at the higher levels, you get more points. And more points means happier times overall. And to do so, you oftentimes want to avoid matching the dark orbs. So you can like avoid matching them using specific orb changes to remove them, and like minimal comboing at the very beginning to prevent excessive skyfalls from ruining your day. You also want to try and get those high levels, and then once you are at those high levels, those combos are worth so much. And then for this particular REMDra Fever, you want to match light and dark rows. And each time you trigger one of those rows, you will get plus 2,500 points. At the beginning, at lower levels, it's definitely advantageous to simply pursue the rows because it is going to be so lucrative by comparison. It sounds simple, but it takes a bit of finessing. And I want to explain the Orb Changers utilized to enhance your experience. So, for every REMDra Fever, we are given 6 different random cards for our fixed team. And those particular cards have a one-time use active skill that is ready as soon as you enter the dungeon. So, you can use every active skill potentially one time, and only one time. It never charges back up, but it's ready at least at the very beginning for it. And for this strategy here, to get the highest scores possible and slower clear times, because you're going to try and advance to the high level possible, you're trying to actively remove dark orbs. And when you actively remove the dark orbs, you're much more likely to get to the higher levels, because that 50 threshold needed to end the run takes, well, longer to fulfill. So for myself, I like to use Leyland first because it gives you a tricolor board without hearts. Without heart orbs, you don't get to restore any of your movement, any of your like time or life bar, so to speak. So I like to use it first early on when you have excessive movement time during the lower levels. For the second series of actives, I like to do Black Rider into Yellow Rider because it gives a net effect of taking away the Dark Orbs. It's highly convoluted, but it does work, and you get lots of Light Orbs, so you're able to, you know, make some rows, more points, more happiness. And then finally, I like to use Fairleon as the last active skill when I get too many Dark Orbs because they convert Dark to Heart, and Heart Orbs give you more movement time or like your health bar is replenished. So that's why I use Fairleon at the very end. If I use them at the beginning and like the Riders Leyland later on, I may run out of time because I could be at level like 4 or 5 maybe, let's say. And obviously at that point, I have less movement time. Every time you use an active skill, there is animation, and the animation isn't paused when you're using active skills, so I like to use Heart Orb generators at the very end if possible. And as a whole, this is going to yield the highest scores possible because you are much more likely to reach the higher level points or higher levels, which in turn gives more points because that 50 health margin for ending the run is much higher than like say 35 or 40, which we're usually used to. So you have much more wiggle room, you get to much higher levels, but at the same time, I can definitely foresee it being much more stressful because at those higher levels, you have even less movement time, so you have to combo, and it can be a little stressful, but at the same time, maybe it is thrilling for yourself. You can get much higher scores overall. But if this doesn't sound as appealing because it takes much more, you know, thinking or mental cognitive functioning, we can just try brute forcing rows. And I've done this approach a few times and I found it quite pleasant because you can play like much slower because you're not trying to get to a very high level. All you're trying to do is match lots of rows, regardless if it's light or dark, just to get points. You would never match a light or a dark combo unless you have 6 of that respective color because you're trying to leverage that plus 2,500 points per row. So for the Orb Changers you could possibly use, the 4 of them that I would like to use are the Light Rider, which will make more light than dark orbs. The Dark Rider will make more dark than light orbs, but the point is you just need those orbs. The Dark Sonia gives you the red, dark, that's all we care about is the dark orbs, so more rows, and Leyland gives you the light orbs for more rows. The other 2 orb changers I don't think are necessary because Fairleon converts dark to hearts, which doesn't help you with the row strategy, and the other one converts yellow to dark. And that's a color we want for rows, so it's going to end our run even faster. Like, I don't think it's a necessary thing to actually do. So, brute forcing like this is easier because you don't go to very high levels, so you have more movement time. It's reasonably straightforward. It's not as stressful because you don't have to like worry about managing orbs. And if you don't have enough dark or light orbs, what you do is just match every other element. Just get rid of the other elements and hopefully you have at least multiples of 6 and match in multiples of 6. I think this is a nice hybrid balanced approach for doing this REMDra Fever. It's much easier and at the same time you still get quite high score. And even though like the more optimal scoring approach will give you higher scores on average, it takes longer, more thinking, and this one is still pretty lucrative. I get like 30 to 40k per run doing this, and I'm more than happy enough to do it because it took minimal amounts of thinking. And another thing I want to mention is that cascading and special timer. So for this particular REMDra, or every REMDra Fever, the orbs will fall, like your timer that ticks down for how much health you have for ending the run does not move or tick down when orbs are being matched or falling into place. This is different compared to regular ranking dungeons, which means that any skyfalls doesn't negatively impact you. It actually gives you more points because your timer is not badly impacted, and cascading becomes even more advantageous because there is no animation for orbs falling down. So cascading is the art of having orbs fall into place and match at a staggered rate. It increases the chances of getting any kind of skyfall, and more skyfall means more points. So if you can, try and leverage cascading in order to give yourself more points because you might as well. Like, it's just an extra thing. It costs you nothing to do and gives you the chance at more combos. So because REMDra Fevers always have lucrative rewards, and this one in particular especially, sometimes you just want to play over and over again. And for this particular REMDra Fever, you can get Zeus and Hera Avatamas. And these are invaluable for cheesing teams. Basically, the idea is you get color resist of either light or dark, and then you have gravities through these active skills. And then what you're able to do is actually gravity down dangerous spawns and not have to worry about it because you're going to either convert their attribute to light or dark and leverage the fact that you can have 100% damage reduction against that particular color. So you can never die and you have gravities in order to kill them. It does work. It is slow, but it does work. And you know what? Getting a clear is still a clear. And at the same time, these are farmable. So I feel like it's definitely in your best interest to at least get a couple of each of them in case you ever want to actually utilize cheesing at some point in possibly the distant future. So with that in mind, for these lucrative rewards, we can do faster farming. Basically, the idea is you're trying to give yourself as many dark orbs as possible to end the run as quick as you can. And basically, you're going to use a large combination of different active skills. But basically, you're going to use the Sonya, then Fairleon, then the Light Rider, and you're going to get all these different Orb Changer effects. But the net effect is you make lots of dark orbs. And the same idea of using the Dark Rider into the purple Mystic Knight. You're giving yourself more dark orbs. Remember, you only can use active skills once per dungeon, so you couldn't actually use like multiple riders multiple times. So point of the matter is, this is a way for you to end up generating lots of dark orbs and clearing the dungeon as quick as you can, because I'm assuming you've at least got your point threshold already, so it's not relevant to like getting a higher score. All you're trying to do is go as fast as you can for those rewards and hopefully get yourself these Avatamas. So that being said, let us enjoy the gameplay footage of just brute forcing Rose and trying to get as high a score as possible. Alright, so my plan is just to use Orb Changers and just brute force as many Roses as I can, regardless of the color. Trying to make rows of any color I can. So that basically means using all my actives. Let's see how well this goes and how much time this actually takes. Use Leyland for more rows. Like, I don't really care about the combos and all, it's just make those rows. Okay, so that's like a minute and a half, like 45 seconds or so. I don't know. Pretty fast overall for about 40k. I'd say that's not bad. I feel like maybe I got a little luckier, and I don't think I even got any Skyfalls. Never mind. I think it's just matching rows. So yeah, I feel like a mixture of like using Orb Changers just to generate orbs to make rows makes the process faster, and the points are pretty high, but the key is it takes very little effort at that point. So yeah, let's enjoy footage of trying to get higher scores instead. I see opportunity for row and happiness. Why do I get 13 Skyfalls or combos on the first floor? It's just unnecessary. Trying to get a level up here. Ah, gosh darn. Okay, let's Leyland it up. Let's use the riders because they do take away hearts and it just gets so slow or lack of time at the end. Level up. I think I have to start comboing normally now. Do I have to yet? Fairly on, let's get some more time. I think I need to switch hands in a second. It gives me a half a second to like figure out how to play again with my other hand. Ah, whoops, those green blobbed. I cascade the red though, but blobbed the green unnecessarily. Why is this music so bumping? $87K because of beautiful Skyfalls, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, basically getting to the higher levels makes it much better, or more lucrative, should I say, because by delaying your Dark Orb matches early on, you're much more likely to get higher scores. So, let's see what beautiful rewards I get. Almost 600K. 600K. Oh, pie. But hopefully this video provides you some insight as to what you can do to tackle this dungeon. I wish you all the best on your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.